morning. It's Wednesday, November 10th. This morning I want to talk to you about an expressway. Probably the most expensive expressway that was ever built. When it was built in the early 50s, it cost $40 million a mile. Fortunately, it was only 7 miles long. In today's dollars, that would be $350 million. Now, the expressway that I am talking about is famous in the New York area. It's called the Cross Bronx Expressway. And it went from the bottom of the Bronx to the Washington Bridge. A total of like 7 miles. And I used that road quite a bit because I had relatives that lived in Jersey, in Teaneck. And my brother lives in Princeton, New Jersey, so we had to go down there occasionally. And then I did work in Jersey for about a year and a half, and I went over the bridge every day. And it cost me 25 cents to cross that bridge at that particular time. So I am very familiar with that road, and I know about it historically. That road was created by Robert Moses. Now, Robert Moses has been praised as being a great builder, etc., but the man was a prick. The man thought nothing of displacing people to get his construction projects done. And that's exactly what he did in the Cross Bronx Expressway. And the Cross Bronx Expressway was built through the poorer parts of the Bronx. It went by Prospect Park. And it went past the Grand Concourse. The Grand Concourse wasn't exactly poor. But when you got in the Southern Boulevard and places like that, it was poor. Those neighborhoods were poor. Those people were low middle class income people. And Moses thought nothing about displacing over 60,000 of them in order to get his Cross Bronx Expressway built. And the bottom line was, at the end of this, after they finished all the building, they built a place at one end of the expressway past Parkchester. Parkchester was a middle-income housing project of sorts. Although it wasn't really a city housing project, it was owned by an insurance company. I think MetLife owned it at that point in time. But at the end of the Cross Bronx Expressway, they built Co-op City. And many of the people who lived in these displaced houses were able to get into Co-op City, and it was a reasonably priced development. But Moses didn't care about these people, really, because he could have built this expressway in a different place that would have affected people who were wealthier. And he didn't do that. And it probably would have been shorter than 7 miles, and maybe less than $40 million a mile. And why am I talking about the Cross Bronx Expressway now? Well, one of the major things that had happened is the people who live alongside the Cross Bronx Expressway, they suffer from the fumes that are emitted from the cars and the trucks that drive up and down that road continuously. That road is heavily trafficked. It's very rare that you can get a clear shot to go on that road. It's always stop and go. And reportedly, there are over 300 diesel trucks a day on that road. Now, that may sound like a lot. I think it's short shrift. I don't think it's that low. I think it's a higher number than that. But whatever it is, those fumes affect all the neighborhoods that line the Cross Bronx Expressway. And so what has happened now with the infrastructure bill is that Chuck Schumer, our senator, is preparing to take about $30 billion of infrastructure money to fix the Cross Bronx Expressway. And this might cost more than $40 million a mile to fix. Because what they are preparing to do is they want to build a roof over parts of the expressway which are run lower than the regular road surface. When you're driving on the Cross Bronx Expressway, there are parts of that where you are 30 or 40 feet below the street level. So in those areas, they want to cap the Cross Bronx Expressway. They want to cap it and build a beautiful park and place for people to sit and rest with grass and everything, and also to put in a ventilation system that will disperse all of the fumes that are coming up out of that roadway. And it's more than the fumes, because you know that's dirt. Those fumes turned into dirt. They're greasy, they're ugly, and they fill your lungs with crap. So they want to cap that expressway. And they want to do it all the way up, all the way to the Washington Bridge. I don't know how many sections are really that far underneath the ground, but it's a noble thought, and maybe it's worthwhile. And there are a lot of people who are in favor of doing that, because a lot of people live alongside that roadway. Because Robert Moses didn't get rid of all the people that lived alongside that expressway. And, it's a monumental task. Anyhow, what they're looking at right now is a monumental task. And they don't have a guy like Robert Moses to drive it, right? I don't know who's going to manage this process and bring it in for the right amount of money. But it's desperately needed. The people alongside that road deserve a clean environment. It's unfortunate that they had to live there for 65 years now. 65 years it's been spewing that kind of stuff into the atmosphere. So it's a good project. I think it's a good project. I think it's the right way to go. Although I don't know that we can do it efficiently. I don't know. And I hope there are no cost overruns, because I think it's going to cost us maybe more than $40 million a mile. Because if they're talking about $30 billion divided by 7, what does that come to? I don't know. I'll have to get out my calculator and figure that out. In any event, I leave it up to you. You can figure that out. You can divide 30 billion by 7 miles, and then you'll come up with a number. And let's hope if they get started on it, they finish it quickly. Or maybe they should get the Chinese to build it, because they can build a whole city in 4 days. So maybe we ought to get some Chinese architects to work on this project. Or at least plan it for us, And maybe that would make us friends again. China and us would be friends. And maybe we could rename the parkway for some great Chinese guy like Mao Zedong or Chiang Kai-shek. But in any event, Robert Moses was a prick, and I leave you with that thought this morning. And hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.